We can see your screen and you're audible.
Yes. Is my voice clear, sir?
Yep, everything is perfect. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. So shall I say good morning and good evening here in the Philippines? Okay, so the title of my paper, the K12 Senior High School Students Academic Performance Monitoring System for Private Institution with Decision Support System for Private Institutions. Okay, so the author of this paper is yours truly, Dr. Winston Domingo, and my co-author is Dr. Erwin Lardizabal and Ms. Sheena Marie V. Toledo from the College of Information Technology and Engineering, Cagayan Valley Computer and Technology College here in the Philippines. So first, let me introduce my paper. That what is all about my paper. Information technologies have been affected every aspect of human activity and have a potential role to play in the field of education. And training, especially in distance education, to transform it into an innovative form of experience. The need for new technologies in the teaching learning process grows stronger and faster. Technology becomes a time of knowledge, providing the complete and unmatched possibility for discovery, exchange of information, communications, and exploration to strengthen the teaching and student learning process. This can help the teachers and students and have up-to-date information and knowledge. The K12 Basic Education Program uses standards and a competency-based grading system. These are found in the curriculum guides. All grades will be based on the weighted raw score of the learners and summative assessments. The minimum grade required to pass a specific subject is 60, which is transmuted to 75 on the report card. The lowest mark that can appear on the report card is 60 for quarterly grades and final grades, and the learners are graded on written work, performance tasks, and quarterly assessment every quarter. So this transmutation of tables and the different category of grading system in the senior high school came from the DepEd order or the Department of Education, released by the Department of Education in the Philippines, which is the DepEd Order number 8 series of 2017. Senior high school teachers feel that the time they need to take in the recording of class records, computing for the grades of their student with the help of computer technology. Schools are taking advantage of a variety of grading systems. However, a greater majority, especially small schools, government schools, and schools in remote areas, still utilize the manual method of recording and computing for the grades. Since the DepEd teachers use what we call the Excel file, but some of the features or the functionalities of the Excel file being produced by the DepEd, there were some technical problems with the usage upon the functionality of the Excel file. With that, the researchers want to develop a computerized grading system to lessen the workload of teachers. The common problems encountered in manual recording, is the workload increased with growing amounts of grades, and students' lists that need to be attended to it becomes tedious on the part of the teacher to capably manage the time for file submission and reporting to higher education authorities. Senior high school principal was not able to monitor the updates of class records in every teacher. Thus, this study aims to implement a workable computerized grading system that will address these issues with features of a centralized database system, which wherein the senior high school principal can monitor all the class records of each teacher. Okay, the research paradigm of this study. So we have the I still use the format of the research paradigm, which is the IPO, the input, process, output. We have the input, the problems encountered in the manual recording. What are the problems encountered by the teachers? What are the problems encountered by the principals and even the registrar of the senior high school in terms of the grading of the student, in terms of the synchronization of the student, of the grades of the students, and in terms of the performance monitoring or the academic performance of the students, part of the teacher and part of the principal and even the registrar. What are the policies and guidelines in computation of the by implementing the policies and guidelines in computation of senior high school grading system following the DepEd order series, DepEd order number 8 series of 2015 and DepEd order number 31 series of 2020, which is the updated, which has been released by the DepEd last December 31, 2020, and what are the DepEd reports which have been submitted by the teacher to the principal, and what were the reports submitted by the principal to the registrar, and even what are the reports submitted by the school to the division office in the DepEd division. Okay, what are the process? So we need to needs analysis in terms of the what are the problems, what are the issues and concern in the manual grading system, what are the policies. So those are the things that we need to analyze in system analysis and design, because this part will be integrated in the designing of the system, what the policies, the computation of grades, and even the reports that will be included also in the development of the system. Through the development of the system, there will parallel testing and implementations, evaluation of the developed computerized system. During the parallel testing, we use the alpha and the beta testing. We use the teachers use the manual, then from the manual, they will test the system, input the record from the manual to the system, then comparing the result of the manual and the computerized system to check the validity of the data. And the output of this is the computerized grading system for senior high school students. And another output of the study is to what is the compliance of the developed system to ISO 25010 or the software quality standards as assessed by the IT experts, and the acceptance level of the developed systems as assessed by the senior high school principals and teachers. Okay, so let me present the problems or the statement of the problems. First, what are the problems encountered in the manual grading system in terms of computation of grades and monitoring of grades? What computerized grading system with a decision support system can be developed for the senior high school? And what is the level of compliance of the developed computerized system to ISO 25010 software quality standards as assessed by the IT expert in terms of the functional sustainability, performance efficiency, compatibility, usability, reliability, maintainability, portability, and the security? And what is the acceptance level of the developed system as assessed by the principal and senior high school teachers in terms also of functional sustainability, performance efficiency, compatibility, reliability, and maintainability, portability, and security? The design of my research is use a descriptive research design and a system development methods. The descriptive method was used to determine the present status and conditions of the senior high school grading system to describe and understand the present environment. Environment analysis and need analysis were done on the adapted grading system of the senior high school in this study. Also, I used the agile methodology in the system's development and implementation of the system. First, the requirements analysis. I need to analyze what all the requirements needed in the developing of the systems. What are the data and information to be processed by the system, and what are the data to be inputted and what are the data to be the report or to be released by the system. And after the requirements analysis is the design of the system. The designing of the system, which include the process in designing of the logical design, the physical design, and even the structure and the framework of the system, including the data flow diagram, the following the process in the software engineering in system designing, the data flow diagram, the hierarchical input process output, and the entity relationship diagram for the database part. And after that is the development of the system. And during the development, there were some series of testing by using the data, also the data, to check the validity or the output of the system. And after the conducting the development and testing, then that will be the part of the implementation. During the implementation, as I've said a while ago, I used the alpha testing and the beta testing. The beta testing is through the use of the developed system, and the alpha testing is used now as the main grading system of the senior high school students. And part of that is the maintenance and the reporting and upgrading of some minor errors or minor encountered errors by the teachers. And as time goes by, the system was continuously developed and following the agile from the requirements analysis up to the maintenance, following the cycle of the agile methodology. So these were the activities. We have the requirements analysis in the agile methodology. So requirements analysis, in this procedure, the researcher accompanied a series of interviews with the senior high school principals, teachers who typically administered and monitored the whole actions of the grading system. All the gathered data and information was studied by the researchers to come up with appropriate inputs in designing and developing the computerized grading system for senior high school students. And in the activity of the design, the researcher chose the appropriate programming software, database, and hardware with which the developed system could be compatible. The researcher constantly coordinated with the users and top management on the features that are suitable for their needs. And during the development, the activities involved here are the designing and coding of the user interface. During the development, there were a series of laboratory testing that was conducted on the different modules of the system. Compatibility testing was done and constant coordination with the users was made to align the user specification with the developed system. And testing is in these procedures, the parallel testing of the developed system was done. The researcher collected comments from the testing teams, which serves as the basis for the modification and the redesigning of the system. And the implementation, the researcher executed the system in the department of the senior high school at CVSITC, Santiago City, Philippines. The system was installed and used. During the implementation phase, a series of training was made to the principal and teachers. Calibration and alignment of expectation of the users were developed. Systems were done. And in part of the maintenance, in this process, the monitoring of the implementation and documentation of the use of the system was done. And problems and challenges encountered by the users were closely recorded and reported. The errors and bugs are encountered by the users, including suggestions on better features, were documented and fixed. Okay, who are the respondents? The respondents, first we have the principal, the senior high school teachers, all the senior high school teachers, and we have the IT experts. So a total of 16 respondents of the study by using the purposive sampling to determine the practice and policies of the senior high school department. They provided inputs on the user specifications, such as their needs and challenges. They were the ones directly involved in the operations of the senior high school grading system and the best personnel to get the inputs for consideration in the design process of the developed system. The instrument used in conducting of this study is for we have the focus group discussion together under the focus group discussion. We have the group discussion together with the principals, together with the senior high school teachers, and observation checklists also provided for me to check, or for us to check, what are the things that we need to do in developing the system. And also an interview guide also provided to the teachers in conducting the research to identify what are the problems and encountered by the teachers. And also we have also the documentary analysis as part of the instrument of the system by collecting all the documents, sample documents from their department to analyze all the documents and reports of the senior high schools and what the reports of the teachers being submitted to the principal. Data gathering procedure, the researchers gathered data through a series of interviews. Focus group discussion was also conducted with the principals and senior high school teachers. The results were the basis of the researchers in the designing and development of the system. The researchers conducted form and report evaluation as part of the data gathering procedures to have a deeper understanding of the current grading system. The developed system was tested and used by the users, teachers, and principals of the system, and they were also involved in the evaluation of the interface of the system. Not only the interface, but also the evaluation of the functionality and the reliability of the system. The recommendations were considered in the development and computerizing the development of computerizing the grading system for senior high school. Here's the statistical treatment of the data. So I have here the weighted using the Likert scale and the weighted mean. So the use the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 highly accepted and 3 accepted, 2 not accepted, and 1 is highly not accepted, with a corresponding weighted mean of 3.330 to 4, which is the 4, with a descriptive interpretation of the measure is described in the item is highly accepted. And from 3.330 to 4.29, the measure described in the item is accepted. And 2.30 to 3.29, the measure described in the item is not accepted. And 1 to 2.30, the measure described in the item is highly not accepted. So the results. So here are the issues and problems encountered in the manual grading system. In terms of computation of grades, by using these were the data or the information that have been collected from the teachers and the principals. So the issues and problems encountered in the manual grading system in terms of computation of grades, by using the Excel file provided by the DepEd in computing the grades of the students, here were the problems encountered by the teachers. Occasional grades are not accepted in cells even it is valid because some of the cells part of the Excel file does not allow the user to input. Cells in the spreadsheets are not automatically computed. There were circumstances that fields won't accept input though it's a valid score. Some grades were not accurate since some cells are not functioning. Not easily detect if you inputted wrong values, most especially if you are preparing composite grades, report cards, and permanent records. Then occasionally the columns in inputting scores are locked. It is not accessible for editing, especially when it was for completion, and intrinsic clerical errors in the forms provided by the DepEd to teachers who may not have the technical knowledge to fix or even identify them. And in terms of monitoring of grades, the following were the problems encountered in the manual grading system in terms of not easy to determine failing of students. Class the advisors hard to monitor grades from other subjects of the students. There is no indirect monitoring of teachers' progress in recording students' grades. Data inconsistency of the documents that teachers are submitting. The preparation of composite grade or computation of all grades from different courses or subject teachers. You will need more time and effort in completing the report. time-consuming in evaluating of students, and no alternative backup of copy and grades, and a printed copy is submitted to the office and digitally copy was not or is not shared. Okay, so here's the developed system. So the developed senior high school student academic performance monitoring system for private institutions. So here's the example of the class record of the teacher. Teachers class record displayed the records in the written work. So because we had the three parts, the written work, the performance task, and the quarterly assessment. Based from the DepEd order number 8 series of 2015, table number 5, weight of the components of senior high school. Computation of initial grade and quarterly grade is based from the DepEd order, from the table of components for senior high school and the table steps for computing of grades, and the DepEd order, the interim guidelines for assessment and grading in line with the basic education learning continuity plan in grading and promotion. Here, the teacher see all the records of his or her students, right? And even while the teacher inputting of grades, updating the class record, the principal can also monitor the updated records of the teacher. There's no need to print, or there's no need to submit the soft copy because the system was centralized, stored in a centralized database system. The principal has the access in monitoring the class records of the teachers. And the principals can monitor who were the performing students and who were the, let's say, the non-performing students, or can also, the principal can monitor who were the students with the highest grades and with the average grade, and who were the students were in the at risk, meaning to say has a low performance in terms of academic performance. Here's the example of the quarterly report submitted by the teachers to the principal. So this is based also, the format of this report is based also from the submitted reports by the teachers, and based also to the DepEd order number 8 series of 2015, which is the template of the report of the senior high school. Wherein also it has the features in counting the number of students with remarks of pass and counting the number of failed students. So it is also part of the system, the features of the system, wherein this is module of the system, or the features of the system, which is only the access is the advisor section, wherein the advisor can check the grades his or her students from their different subjects to see or to check the performance of her students under his advisory. So as you can see, it has a menu here. So this is the subject of all the students under his advisory. So like for example, meron tayo dito, we have here the HE-FBS for the the home economics. We have the home economics section. So we have their subject, the HE-FBS 1 up to the SHS Statistics. So the teacher or the advisor can monitor all the grades so that there's no need to submit or to collect the computed or the reports of the subject teachers and to be collected by the advisors for the monitoring of the performance of their students. And also, the principal has the access to monitor the class records of the teacher under his or her supervision. So he can check the class list, he can check the view class record, the third quarter and fourth quarter record, since this record is for the second semester, because first quarter and second quarter is under the first semester, third quarter and fourth quarter is for second semester. So we have here also the report, the semestral report, and we have the synchronization and lock. The features of synchronization and lock is that the computed or the final grades of the students will be recorded to the permanent records of the students. Meaning to say, once the class records of the teachers submitted to the principals and checked by the principals and approve it, the principals can now synchronize the class records of the teacher to the permanent records of the teachers of the students to the system, and the class records now of the teacher will be locked. Meaning to say, the lock, meaning of the lock is not, the class record will not, the system will not able to edit, delete a record once the class record is being locked. The purpose of override in case of, for the there were some errors, there were technical errors encountered, and there's a record that needs to be correct due to some typo error or clerical error. Here's the features of the system. Okay, so here's the permanent grades of the students. We're in the all the records, all the grades of the students will be displayed in the system. It has the features of searching the students by using their last name, first name, and their middle name. And it's also a features once the student is incomplete, it also features of the completion of the grades of the students. And also part of the access of the principal, and also this will be also accessed by the registrar of the senior high school. This will be now the basis of the registrar in preparing their class grades or the class report and the transcript of the students. And also, it has the features of the student honoree and the student achiever and the student at risk. Wherein the system will identify the list of student honoree based on the criteria. For example, the teacher or the principal search who were the honoree from school year 2020 to 2021. The system will provide all the possible honoree based on the criteria of the DepEd order. And even the criteria in selecting the student achiever and who were also the students were at risk. Okay. We also evaluate the system using the ISO 25010 as assessed by the IT experts. So here's the result. The result of the level of compliance of the developed system to ISO 25010 software quality standards as assessed by the IT expert that obtained the grand mean of 3.72 with the descriptive rating of compliant and highly accepted. And it was being evaluated with the different criteria using the functional suitability, performance efficiency, compatibility, usability, reliability, security, maintainability, and portability. So the functional suitability get the 3.87, which is the with descriptive rating of compliant and highly accepted, and even the performance efficiency got the 3.60 with compliant and highly accepted. So all the indicators of ISO 25 software quality standards got the descriptive rating of compliant and highly accepted to ISO 25010 or the software quality standards. Also, the system has been evaluated by the principal and senior high school teachers using also the 25010 software quality standards to determine the acceptance level of the system. So the acceptance level of the system got the grand mean of 3.63 with the descriptive rating of compliant and highly accepted. So I used the indicator of ISO 25010 software quality standards, the functional suitability, performance efficiency, compatibility, usability, reliability, security, and maintainability and portability in assessing the acceptance level of the developed system. With the result that all the indicators of the ISO 25010 got the descriptive rating of compliant and highly accepted. In the conclusion, the researcher concluded that existing manual system by using Excel for the grading system of the SHS Senior High School Department can be improved through the adoption of the developed system. The developed K12 Senior High School Students Academic Performance Monitoring System for private institution with decision support system was compliant with ISO 25010 quality standards as assessed by senior high school principal, senior high school faculty or teachers, and the IT experts. The developed system followed also the policy and guidelines set by the Department of Education in the grading system. And also the researchers recommend the following for the improvement of the system. The senior high school department may consider using the development system in inputting of grades. The school may consider acquire hardware and better equipment capabilities that are necessary to improve the usability and functionality of the developed system by using the advanced server to install the system for better usability and functionality. Future researchers and system developers may consider the development of report for student report card, integrating the template or integrating the report card or the Form 138 into the system. And integrating the transcript of records, which is the Form 137, and also improving the decision support system features to data analytics. Improving the interface design to be responsive in mobile devices to be integrated into the K-12 senior high school students academic performance monitoring system for private institution with decision support system. So we would like to acknowledge also the CBSIT administration, the SHS department office, and the principal in allowing us to implement on the test developed system, and also the organizer of this 5th International Conference Networks and Communication. So here's the authors and the information of the authors of this research. So Dr. Winston Domingo, Dr. Erwin Lardizabal, and Sheena Toledo. So that's end my presentation, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Winston. It's a very good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And does anyone have any question? Sheena Toledo is praising your presentation. That's great. Thank you. Does anyone have any question? Mr. Gaber is praising your presentation. Thank you, Mr. Gaber.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. And I think there is no question from forum. If you don't mind, Dr. Winston,
yes, sir.
Can you explain in what way your system is superior than available grading system in the market? There are so many grading systems are available in the market.
Yes, sir.
So what makes you to develop a new one And in what way your application is superior than the ready-made software?
So the difference of my system from the market is that my system is a customized system, and during the implementation it can be added some other features by request. It depends on the request of the user, or it depends on the request of the principal or the teachers. And yes, it has features of customization, sir, and fully compliant to the DepEd order, because some of the grading system which is available on the market, which is the